Welcome to the studio at That Nerd Show. I'm Marcus Blake, and this is your daily nerd news for Wednesday, February 26, 2020. Our top stories of the day go to the world of Disney. Disney names Bob Chapek, CEO, as Bob Iger's successor. It was announced yesterday that Bob Iger will officially be leaving the post after 27 years, but he will take on a new role at Disney through 2021 for the rest of his contract. He will become the executive chairman. A little bit more about the details of this big and stunning news. Disney's board of directors has sprung the news that it has named Bob Chapek, Disney's chief executive officer, effectively immediately. Bob Iger, the Disney architect and until now chairman, will assume the role of executive chairman and direct the company's creative endeavors while continuing to lead the board. After years of wondering about the succession plan for Iger, finally, this is it. Iger will stay in his new role to the end of his contract, December 31st, 2021, and that's when he will officially exit. In the meantime, Chapek will handle day-to-day operations and learn the rest of the job during the transition. Chapek most recently served as chairman of Disney's Parks, Experiences and Products, and previously ran Disney's Parks and Consumer Product divisions. He started at Disney in 1993 with the successful launch of Disney's direct-to-consumer business and the integration of 20th Century Fox while underway. I believe this is the optimal time to transition to a new CEO, Bob Iger said. I have the utmost confidence in Bob and look forward to working closely with him over the next 22 months as he assumes the new role and delivers deeper into Disney's multifaceted global business and operations, while I continue to focus on the company's creative endeavors. During a conference call with investors yesterday after the surprise announcement, Iger also said the time was now to make the move, partly so he could focus on Disney's growing content operations, which expanded with Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox and all of their assets. Iger said the board has been working on a succession plan and that Chapek was identified early in the process. Bob will be the 7th CEO in Disney's nearly 100-year history, and he has proven himself exceptionally qualified to lead the company into the next century. Iger said in a release this afternoon, signaling the move, which came after the market close. Throughout his career, Bob has led with integrity and conviction, always respecting Disney's rich history, while at the same time making smart, innovative risks for the future. His success over the past 27 years reflects this visionary leadership and the strong business growth and stellar results that have constantly achieved in his roles at Parks Consumer Products at the studio. Under Bob's leadership as CEO, the portfolio of a great business and the amazing talented people will continue to serve the company and its shareholders well for years to come. That was a statement by Iger about his successor. But it looks like, at least for now, Bob Iger will still be working on the creative control of Disney through the rest of his contract and not being stretched so thin of having to oversee everything. It's been coming for a while, and we have known that, but the transition is now, so it'll bring about some very interesting questions about the direction of Disney through the next couple of years, and then what the creative direction will be after 2021. So that's what's going on with Disney and film and TV and streaming. It's always after 27 years since Bob Iger has been there. It's always a huge deal when a CEO leaves, and the fact that they've only had 7 in 100 years, that says a lot about the company. In other movie news, Eric Bana has his next project. He will be working on a biopic piece about Mike the Bike Hailwood. He will write, star, and co-direct this motorcycle racer's comeback attempt in a feature film. But anyway, Eric Bana's Pickup Truck Pictures and Robert Connolly's Arena Media have acquired the rights to make a movie from the life and spectacular comeback story of Mike the Bike Hailwood, once considered the greatest motorcycle racer of all time. Hailwood retired from racing bikes at his career peak in 1967 after 12 victories at the Isle of Man. He set out to take back his crown in 1978 aboard a Ducati. Bana plans to star as Hailwood. He will also write the script and, as we mentioned before, co-direct the film with Connolly. Hailwood revived his career by returning to a race that is considered the most dangerous motorsports event in the world, with 151 fatalities since its inception in 1907. The high-speed race is run on public roads on the British Isle. Hailwood, who once interrupted his own race to pull a burning competitor out of the blazing Formula One race car and save his life, would himself die tragically at the age of 40 along with his daughter after a truck crashed into their vehicle as they headed to a restaurant. But anyway, it was stated that we are absolutely thrilled that Eric Bana and Robert Connolly have taken Mike's story to adapt into a feature film about his historic comeback race win. Hailwood, this was said by Mike Hailwood's widow, Pauline Hailwood, and their son David. We're delighted that Mike will be depicted by Eric Bana, an actor with an immense passion and knowledge of motorsports, Mike's career, and a writer himself. Connolly directed, and Bana stars in the recently completed film called The Dry, adapted from the worldwide bestseller by Jane Harper. Bruna Pandera's made-up stories produced it along with Bana and Connolly. Bana's directorial debut came on Love the Beast, which premiered at Tribeca, that film festival in 2009. Connolly's credits include the Oscar Isaac star film Balibo and Paper Planes, and the duo have also collaborated on the Aussie film Romulus, My Father. So for fans of motorsport, there will be a biopic movie about Mike the Bike Hailwood and his comeback story. We'll let you know what we think once we get a chance to see the film. Pardon the interruption while you watch this fantastic video by That Nerd Show, but we wanted to remind you that when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com and check out all the cool swag that we sell to help support this great news outlet. Yeah, if you like funny gaming or pop culture retro t-shirts, we have them. If you want a fantastic nerd bracelet, show your love as a nerd, we have that. We are also the home of the Baby Yoda t-shirt. That's right, we got a Baby Yoda t-shirt that you can buy and help support That Nerd Show. So when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com, check it out, help support the show, and keep the lights on. Every purchase helps. In other film news and also related to books, Clive Cussler has passed away. He was 88. He was the author of such hits Sahara and Raised the Titanic, both which were made into movies. But his main protagonist, Dirk Pitt, was beloved by adventure readers across the board. But anyway, he's had many best-selling books, but he died Monday at his home in Scottsdale, Arizona. His death was announced by his wife. Anyway, they said it was a heavy heart that they shared the sad news that Clive had passed away. It's been a privilege to share his life, and this was by his widow, they wanted to thank the fans and friends for all the support. He was the kindest and most gentlest man that she ever knew, and she knew his adventures will continue. He wrote more than 80 books with his speciality in action, adventure, and undersea stories. Cussler is best known in Hollywood for the two novels that didn't make particularly good movies that he also had screen credit for. 2005's Sahara, starring Matthew McConaughey and Penelope Cruz. Anyway, that angered the author so much, the way that movie was filmed, that he ended up, part of his legacy, he sued Philip Anschutz Crusader Entertainment for changing the 1992 novel storyline and dialogue, and not including the author in the film's development. He didn't receive screen credit for that particularly, just the story by. He filed a lawsuit in 2004, and even before the movie bombed at the box office the following year, Cussler continued his multi-million-dollar legal battle and fought a countersuit for nearly a decade. But of course, neither side was a clear victor, with the Second Appellate District for California's appeals court, writing in 2012 that both sides recovered nothing. His breakthrough novel came in 1976 called Raise the Titanic. It was an instant bestseller and would become a lifetime roster of about 85 novels reflecting sales in excess of 100 million copies, with vast numbers, and which are incredibly vast numbers, as the book reporters from the New York Times have stated in the past. You could find many of his paperbacks at airports. Raise the Titanic was adapted into a 1980 feature film directed by Jerry Jameson and starring Jason Robards, Richard Jordan, David Selby, Ann Archer, Sir Alec Guinness, but it didn't do very well at the box office, much like Sahara. Anyway, in addition to writing, Clive Cussler was also an avid explorer of shipwrecks and sunken treasures, and founded the National Underwater and Marine Agency, a nonprofit organization dedicated to American maritime and naval history. He also collected and restored vintage cards. For someone who grew up reading his novels because of my father getting me into them, it's very, very sad to hear about his passing. And his character, Dirk Pitt, was one of my favorites growing up. He will be missed. That's what's going on in the world of film news today. Here is what's happening in TV news. So it's pilot season, or at least the casting of pilots getting ready to figure out whether they're going to be turned into series for next year. We've brought you a couple of items about a pilot being developed for Clarice. It's a sequel to the Silence of the Lambs movie, but in TV form. And then, of course, the Kung Fu reboot. Our two stories have to deal with that. Rebecca Breeds has been cast in the title role of the CBS Silence of the Lambs prequel pilot called Clarice. She will be playing Clarice Starling in the crime drama, based on the famous Thomas Harris character. She is from TV shows as The Originals and Pretty Little Liars. And of course, the project was written and executive produced by Alex Kurtzman and Jenny Lumet, and has a big series commitment, and a writer's room already has been set up. Clarice is set in 1993, a year after the events of The Silence of the Lambs. The series is a deep dive in the untold personal story of Clarice Starling as she returns to the field to pursue serial murders and sexual predators while navigating the high-stakes political world of Washington, D.C. Brilliant and vulnerable, Clarice graduated magna from UVA with a double major in psych and criminology. Her bravery gives her an inner light that draws monsters and madmen to her. Her complex psychology makeup comes from a challenging childhood, and her drive comes from her need to escape the burden of family secrets that have haunted her throughout her life. If you've seen the movie Silence of the Lambs, then you know what we will be talking about, and also know the true meaning behind the term or the title Silence of the Lambs, which has to deal with her past. But anyway, Breeds has taken the role that earned Jodie Foster an Oscar for the 1991 movie adaptation, directed by Jonathan Demme. In 2001's Hannibal, based on the 1999 Thomas Harris novel, that was set 10 years after Silence of the Lambs, and Clarice Starling was played by Juliana Moore. Secret Hideouts, Kurtzman and Heather Kadeen are executive producers. Clarice, alongside Lumet, the company's Aaron Byers, will co-executive produce. The character of Hannibal Lecter is not expected to be a part of the series. This is from MGM Television and CBS Television Studios in association with Secret Hideout. So don't look for that to be a part of it. It's about the rest of her career. A little bit more about her, and I'm talking about Rebecca Breeds. The Australian-born Breeds landed the part of Clarice in a competitive situation, auditioning alongside a number of young actresses. It was the second network drama pilot in which she nabbed the title role after extensive testing process following the 2016 NBC legal soap Miranda's Rights. Breed's first role in the U.S. was on CBS. She co-starred on the short-lived comedy series We Are Men. She recently recurred on the network's drama The Code. Breed's is known for her recurring roles on Pretty Little Liars and The Originals, as we stated before. So there you have it. We know who's going to be playing young Clarice Starling, fresh from her big case of dealing with Hannibal Hector and catching Buffalo Bill. Look for that series to come out for 2021. And also, in addition, the Kung Fu reboot, Olivia Liang will be cast as the lead in this TV show. Kung Fu has found its stars from the TV show Legacies, Olivia Liang. She will headline the reimagining with a female lead of the 1970s David Carradine starring TV series, which comes from Christina M. Kim, Martin Guerrero, Greg Berlanti, Sarah Schrechter, and Warner Brothers TV, where Kim Greco and producers are under deals. Written by Kim and inspired by the original series, created by Ed Spielman, and the new Kung Fu, a quarter-life crisis causes Chinese-American woman Nick Ling to drop out of college and go on a life-changing journey to an isolated monastery in China. But when she returns to find her hometown overrun with crime and corruption, she uses her martial arts skills and Shaolin values to protect the community and bring criminals to justice, all while searching for the assassin who killed her Shaolin monk mentor and is now targeting her. So there you have it. We now have the lead in that show. It was previously announced that her parents will be played by TZ Ma and Kang Hu Tan, as well as John Praisda, Shannon Dang, and Eddie Luell, who will have recurring roles in the series. Look for that to be out in the fall of 2020. That's what's going on in the world of TV and film today. So now we turn our attention to gaming. There really isn't any gaming news, any major news. We've had a lot of announcements about the Xbox Series X this week, and we're still eagerly awaiting more news regarding the PlayStation 5. But we do want to report this story. We thought this was very interesting and kind of worthy of discussion. But Neil Druckmann, who is the creative director of the Uncharted games, has said in regards to a question about making an Uncharted 5, maybe one day we'll see it. This is what he further had to say about this on the subject. He teased that Naughty Dog may return to the Uncharted series during a recent live stream with Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, and Nolan North, respectively the voices of Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us and Nathan Drake from Uncharted. But anyway, he said that we're lucky to have the freedom that Sony gives us where we can choose. Druckmann said of the studio's future plans, "We made Uncharted 4 and we haven't made another Uncharted since. Maybe one day we'll see. We will see. We'll talk about it," North added. And by the way, what you just said, the internet is going to explode, which is also why we're kind of reporting this, because we are huge fans of the Uncharted video games, and we would love to see an Uncharted 5. But Druckmann also said this. Druckmann is a lot like the God of War director Cory Barlog in that anytime he has so much discussion about potential projects, of course, fans light up and their imaginations run wild, and this was pointed out by Nolan North. But it's worth noting that this is just an off-the-cuff remark from Druckmann. We're not confirming any news here. We're just giving you a little news about what he said during an interview. There's no reason to believe that Naughty Dog is even actually considering an Uncharted 5, especially with the studio buckled down to ship The Last of Us 2. But that said, another Uncharted isn't off the table either. Uncharted 4 was a fitting send-off for the series protagonist Nathan Drake, but Uncharted: The Lost Legacy proved that Uncharted doesn't necessarily need Nathan Drake to be great. If Naughty Dog wanted to return to the series for the Tomb Raiding, temple scaling, wisecracking protagonist, it could certainly do so with a cast. How about how about Ellie and Nathan's child? But for now, all of this is just wishful thinking. It's not out of the realm, and it may be in future plans, especially with the PlayStation 5 coming out and us entering the next generation of consoles. It's worthy to talk about, and the reason we bring this up in news is we are also pushing the envelope as gaming fans to give suggestions to developers. We're the ones that they should be listening to about how to make better games. And since we do offer honest feedback around here, we're just going to go ahead and throw out there as fans of the series that yes, it should be considered down the road. If nothing else, I think an Uncharted 5 video game will probably be better than the movie they're trying to make with a very young Nathan Drake that just isn't going to work unless you're doing it in flashbacks. So, The Last of Us 2 is coming out here in the next couple of months. That's their big game. So if you're a fan of that series, we know that you're eagerly waiting for that game. However, in the meantime, there are plenty of great games like Uncharted to satisfy your thirst for adventure. We have 3 great Tomb Raider games that you can go buy and go back and play. They have recently been here on Xbox Game Pass. I know Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider are still there. And of course, last year we did a big discussion regarding Tomb Raider versus Uncharted. Which are the better games? Who has the better characters? So there are those adventures. There's always a good Assassin's Creed game, especially the last 2 with Odyssey and Origins being huge open worlds of adventure. And you can never go wrong with The Witcher 3, which right now is on Xbox Game Pass. So whether we get an Uncharted 5 or not, we will have to wait and see. But at least we know it's not out of the realm of possibility, or at least some spin-offs. And of course, you can always go back and play Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, which was a fair to good video game, even though it didn't have Nathan Drake. But it had 2 of the beloved characters that we like, and it was a great way to get back into that universe after Uncharted 4. So there you have it, folks. That's what's going on in the world of gaming, TV, and film today. And now to our question of the day. Our question of the day deals with Disney. Now that we've had some big news about Bob Iger stepping down as CEO and just focusing on, the creative direction, at least until his contract runs out at the December 31st, 2021. I think it's fair to ask, where does Disney go next? What should they be focusing on? Especially after dropping a streaming service. They own Hulu. The Skywalker saga is now officially done. They've filmed those movies. But with Bob Iger on his way out, eventually leaving in 2 years, what's next for Disney? Where should they go? What should they focus on? What do we want Disney to do? We've got Phase 4 in Marvel coming out. They are rebooting a few things, or at least planning some long-awaited sequels on the Disney Plus series, from a Mighty Duck series to a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids series to it's even in the works a Willow series set 30 years after the movie. And of course, let's not forget the Star Wars series like The Mandalorian, which was very popular, or the fact that we're getting one more and a final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. But what should be the direction under a new CEO of Disney? And maybe their quest to control the world when it comes to entertainment, so to speak. Do they take over DC Comics and try to fix everything that Warner Brothers screwed up? The reason we throw the question out there is everybody has an opinion in regards to how Disney deals with entertainment. From Marvel Studios to Lucasfilm. What do you as fans want to see next? What is the direction for Disney? What would you like for them to do? Because it's the fans who pay for everything. So, will the new CEO listen? Does he have his own plans? Bob Chapek, it sounds like they have a lot of faith in him, hence why he was their pick to replace Bob Iger early on. But I think it's always important for companies like Disney to listen to fans, and that's what we're talking about now. So what do you think should be the new direction of Disney with a new CEO? We'd love to hear your answers. please discuss with us on Twitter. You can tweet us out at That Nerd Show. I'm Marcus Blake for That Nerd Show. This has been your daily nerd news for Wednesday, February 26, 2020. Until the next time, goodbye. Hello there, fellow nerds. I'm Marcus Blake, the editor and producer of That Nerd Show, and we need your help. That's right, we need your support. Like any news outlet, we rely on advertising and donations to keep the lights on. To be the greatest show in this universe, we need funding, and that's where you come in. Like most artists out there, we actually have a Patreon account, and we're asking for donations. But we're not just asking for you to give us money. We actually have stuff that we're going to be giving away if you donate. So we'll be uploading more and more videos to our Patreon account from YouTube, from our daily news to interviews with celebrities to gaming videos and all of our other individual shows that we are doing here in 2020. But to keep us going, we need a little bit of funding. And again, that's where you come in. So it can be as little as $1. $1 makes all the difference in the world. And you can do anywhere from $1 to $3 to $5, all the way up to $500. And we're going to be giving stuff away for your donations. So you can get some Nerd Power wristbands or any other wristbands from our series of wristbands that we're creating for nerds. You can get cool retro gaming t-shirts from our Nerd Swag shop if you make a donation of $20 or more. You can even get advertising on our website or within our videos if you make a purchase or donate $50 or more dollars. We have different tiers, like most artists. Want that new video game that's coming out this year? You want to be playing the same video game we are as we're reviewing it? Hey, you can do that with a $100 donation. Are you looking to get a new console before the year is out? Hey, $500 and you can get an Xbox One, a PlayStation 4, or even a Nintendo Switch. It just takes a little bit to help us. As little as $1 per video that we do. And we're going to have a variety of videos that you can help support. So if you like our content, if you like everything that we do as nerds, from honest conversations about pop culture to great celebrity interviews to wacky and fun gaming videos, then help support us on our Patreon account. You can check us out at patreon.com/thatnerdshow. You can check us out at patreon.com/that. Take 3. Go to patreon.com/thatnerdshow and make your donation today. Even if it's just $1. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you and stay nerdy.